To add a new user, go to Administration and Users, click on New User. Enter the first name and the last name of the user and their email address. It doesn't have to be a real email address. It is preferred because it will help in case they need a password reset, but the minimum is that it's at least in the format of an email address. Enter a password. The requirements of the password are below the password entry, and if you ever need to take a peek to make sure that you put that password in correctly, you could click on the eye icon on the right. Next is applications. So this is related to the applications and link to feed. You would only select the ones that the user should have access to, and the only ones that will be visible would be the applications that are enabled in your network. So if you're not using Connect at all, there's no one that has Kids Cafe, you're not going to see that application listed here. You would select the ones that are applicable, and depending on what you select, there might be a drop-down list with extra options or not. For intake, there are additional options that are tied in to make sure that any programs that have specific user permissions or tabs are tied into this. So for CSFP worker, I'm getting access to the CSFP programs, including the CSFP tab and the lists that are available. Social services, for SNAP or Medicaid visits, I now have access to those programs if I were to enable them on the next page, and the social service follow-ups list. Next would be core roles. I'll check off pantry here as well. So everything I check off here will reflect on the next page. So for example, if it's only going to show the programs that are related to CSFP, pantry, social services. Core roles: network admin, network manager, agency manager, reporter, and messenger. There are additional intake-specific and inventory-specific roles available that will show throughout the process. And then we have auto assign. This is something that's enabled at the network level, so it's not necessarily going to be visible to all users at all organizations. If enabled, it will look like this. It will reflect and show all of the network program types that are available across the network. So, for example, you'll notice that the labels are a little bit different just because these are the program types, not the name. So if I have a school backpack program called After School Kids, this will show backpack program. So by checking that off, it will reflect that program. It's only going to show me the list of those that I have set up in my network. This list is very long just because I'm on the test site and we have all of them available for testing. But by me selecting backpack program, and there's a little blurb here that explains it, it means that any any programs that are created within the network with the backpack program type, this user will automatically get assigned to that organization and that specific program. So again, we'll use the school kids program. If I happen to create a new agency 6 months from now and give them that school backpack program, this system will automatically assign this user profile to that agency in that program because I have backpack program automatically selected. This isn't a feature that is meant for everyone. It's mostly used for organizations that have users that manage certain programs. So if you have organizations where you have users who manage a bunch of CSFP programs across the board and maybe travel to different sites, this is useful so that every time a new agency is created, every time someone new is given access to a program, you don't have to remember to go into user profiles to check off this new program and new agency. It's automatically going to be done. And you would click on Save and Next. So here's a list of agencies And then we have enable scrolling here. So scrolling at the top, these are all the network programs. So keep in mind that if there's an agency-specific program created, a program that was created at a specific agency only, it will not show up on this page. This is only the network program, so it matches the options available if you were to go to admin and organizations and assign a program to an agency. This is the same list. For this specific user, I get to check off under the active column which agencies they should have access to. You'll notice that some are already selected. This is based on the options I selected in the previous page. So I wanted auto assign checked off for CSFP programs. So here is the fact that they've already found this active CSFP program here, and they've given me access to that agency, and I've already checked the program off for me. To check off unique options or to manually check off options, you would click on the agency under the active column, and then that way, by saying it's active, you're saying this person has access to this agency. And then when it comes to assigning a program, you'd go through the list of all the programs that are available. For the agency that I checked off, this is the only checkbox so far that's available, so that would be it. I don't have to scroll, so for example, I can automatically select all, and that's just telling the system check off all programs, network programs that Hourglass HQ has access to. Or maybe I want the user to have access to all network CSFP visit programs, and I can use this toggle here at the top to check off all. Now this toggle at the top will only work for the active agencies here. So again, just to recap on this page, the 2 steps needed is to assign the organization by using the buttons in the active column, and then assign the agency by either selecting all or by checking off the ones that are available. You might see a little red circle with a cross over it or a line over it. That means that so we'll take for blank, there's a little crosshair for network CSFP visit. This means that this agency has not been assigned this network program. So in order to get access to this, you would first have to go to administration organizations, assign this program to this agency, and when you return back to this page in the user profile, it will be available to check off. The next option, Save and Next. This will take you to additional permissions. These are the intake permissions. So if this was not, if you didn't give yourself, or if you didn't assign the user any intake programs, this page would not be applicable. So these are intake specific, any specific options, including attendance, using the assessments, if that's something that's enabled in your settings or fields, duplicates, exporter, quick click. These are all intake that you can check off, and then profile tabs, checking that off here. Data entry reflects client intake. Save and Next. And now you've seen that it did skip the reports tab. That's because I did not give my user the reporter role. So it will completely skip that, and it will take me to my user preferences enabled in order to complete the setup. If I have any changes to make to the time zone, time format, quick search, things like that, or dashboard, it will allow me to do that before clicking on Save and Next, which would complete my user setup. And then here's a summary page of what the user has been assigned to, their auto assign, created by, updated by, and all the roles that they have been provided. On the right side, Here are the options of the pages that we went through. So if you ever need to quickly check and go back to one of those pages, you don't have to go through the save and next process again. You just select the specific page that you want to edit.